Loud and hi, we're all recording, and I want to welcome everyone to my little chat. Nice to see y'all. My little chat about the joys and thrills and my experience with Patreon. So, and for those of you who've met me, I'm kind of, chatty and extemporaneous, and I use sidebars as little learning opportunities. I am a Patreon creative. I do not work for nor represent Patreon. I am a user and a creator. I also subscribe to other people. And user and subscriber, as well as subscribing to other people. Let's see. And I'm going to focus on my experience as a creator. Now, I am taking an opportunity to mute everyone, just so it's going to be clear for a moment. I'll have moments of unmuting. I think that's going to be the easiest way to manage this. For those of you who I can see the video, you can give me like hand signal communications. Okay, great, super. Thank you. I like the little like emoji thumbs up too. Thank you very much. So I'm sharing with you from my own perspective. I started in Patreon in, I think it was a January 3 years ago, 2017. And I have stuck with it. And there's some perspectives that I want to share, especially given what's been going on lately and some of the conversations I've had with other friends, okay? So now, as I have you muted, I also welcome you to put things into the chat room. Now, Layla, you say that you can't hear. You might want to, Layla, you might want to step out and come back in again. See if you can hear a little better. All right. And I'm also going to encourage you all to check out the Patreon FAQ. It is chock full of information. I'll be honest, it's intimidatingly full of information. And I started with that and I got freaking overwhelmed. So I just dove in and started doing this 3 years ago just to see what would happen. Now, first thing, Patreon is not a place for you to find new people to your work at all. I had hoped it was. I was hoping that it would be a place where I could get people who don't know me to learn about my work. Patreon is not that. It is unfortunate, but that is not what it exists for. You will need to cultivate your following and explain what you are doing in other places. Where are these other places? It may be your physical studio mates. It may be people that have already bought your artwork. Maybe it could be your relatives, actually. It could be your Facebook. It could be your Twitter. It could be, hell, Grindr, Tinder, I don't care, anywhere, FetLife. If you are posting any sort of like visual material, audio material, anything that talks anything about your artwork, right? It could be dating sites. I don't care, okay? I mean, for many of you may be on FetLife. FetLife is a cesspool, as far as I'm concerned. But if you're going to be posting stuff on FetLife, you might as well pimp your Patreon. Why not? They send you a dick pic, you send them your Patreon link. Yep, there you go. Okay, productive use of Patreon. If any of you all been reading my FetLife asshole responses, why the fuck not? Yes, Grindr, absolutely. Okay, Grindr profile picture. alternated with your dick pic and your Patreon ad. Who knows? Okay, but anywhere that you may have an opportunity to say, hey, I have a Patreon. And so again, back to my point, Patreon is not the place to get new exposure. However, Patreon will give you, by having a Patreon, now you have something to talk about. And in any medium, you should put that in there. All right, so first. Second, if you have any sort of adult content in Patreon, adult content, and you're thinking about doing adult Patreon, I want you to think carefully how you're going to strategize this. I'm not saying don't do adult only Patreon, but here's the downside, okay? And Patreon's really trying hard to make it possible for adult content creators to have a place. And they're also trying to not go the way of Tumblr, okay? Once you have your account, if you designate your account as adult content, you are never going to be seen, and you're going to be incredibly difficult to search unless it is that the person has the specific and exact link and URL of your Patreon page. Once you are designated as mature content, adult, you're going to be pretty much impossible to find. So I follow a few people. I'm a huge fan of Michael Manning's artwork, and that is about as explicit as they get. Even, sure, they're drawn images. And if you like adult graphic novels, I'm going to totally recommend you check this out. Hold on, I'm going to pop over here to my Patreon. Give me just a sec so I can actually see. I even have a hard time finding his link, right? Even in my account. So if you have adult content and that's the business that you want to, art business that you want to have, fine. But you might want to have your Patreon posts skirt just above the line of, make it R, not X. Okay? Make it R, not X. And, okay, here, hold on, I'm going to put in Michael's link. His stuff is solidly X. There is no way getting around his X-ness of this. So he has taken a route that's going to limit his exposure, and only his fans are going to be able to find. Sion, sorry, I ended up muting you because of background sound interference. Okay. So he's decided to take the route to show his artwork, but limit his income potential. So you have to make a decision of, do you want the income and fan base and then show your X work elsewhere? Because you can post a link to your X work from your R-rated Patreon. You can even do things that are by password access only off Patreon, but give that X-rated password to your R-rated Patreon people. Does that make sense? And okay, if it makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If not, like wave at me or something, ping at me. It's once you either self-designate or get designated by Patreon as X-rated, whatever it is they call it, it's hard to undo that. I ended up getting designated as X, get this, because I had taken a photo of a painting in the Asian Art Museum of a nude painting. At the Asian Art Museum. You cannot get more highfalutin, cultural little pinky up with a paintbrush and a beret kind of thing with a nipple. I swear, I'm going to someday post photos of my cat's nipples and see on Facebook and Instagram and go, look, nipples. So that's like the Venn diagram of internet cat pictures and titties. I'm gonna do it. I'm totally gonna do it. Cat nipples. Yep. On top of that, it's gonna be Jack's nipples. He has very pronounced male cat nipples. Yeah, he may be gender fluid cat, so he may be Jackie, less Jack. I don't know, or maybe Jacque. I don't know. Whatever it is, that cat's an asshole. Anyhow, back to Patreon. I got designated as X because of a highfalutin fancy nude painting at the Asian Art Museum. And then I had to go in circles trying to get that deleted. Hell, I even texted Amanda Palmer to ask for a contact within Patreon. It was a pain in the ass. So if at all possible, get yourself R, not X. Okay? And so there's that. Okay, so those are two major points. I'm gonna have a moment to, oops, you know what? I think I just posted Michael's link just to one person. Here we go. Okay, I just posted Michael's link. So if you are into incredibly creative, amazingly strange, and intensely X-rated graphic novel, check out that link, okay? Because there's no way you're gonna find that. I'm going to take like 2 minutes to take your questions from what I just talked about. So we talked about don't count on Patreon as a place to gather a new following. And if at all possible, go R. Okay, let's see, let me, Hi, Midori, can I post my link in the right conversation room? This is not my first ride on the Zoom rodeo. Can you all see the link now? Okay, good. All right. Okay. And hello, all in the waiting room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. And on the 2 points that I have mentioned, are there any general or specific questions on those? You are welcome to unmute yourself or scroll it into the sidebar. Okay, I'm not hearing anything and I am, ooh, am I seeing anything? Okay. Okay, Claire, I've heard it's best to have a few subscribers before you promote. What do you think? All right, let's see. If no other questions on the first 2 points I mentioned, I'm going to tackle Claire's. Okay. And I'm also going to write down the question about. Okay. So Claire asked, I've heard it is best to have a few subscribers before you promote. Yes. And you know who those few subscribers are? Your partners, your mom, your kid, your best friend, just for good luck. It's like a tip jar that you put that $1 in because you don't want to start. If anyone's ever worked food service, right? Or cafe, you don't want to have an empty tip jar. You want to put that $1 in there, okay? You could also put your own $1 in there. Why? Because it will allow you to see what the subscriber experience is. So you get to be the test case. So here's what I thoughts on setting it up, okay? So you say to your loved ones, I'm going to start a Patreon, in which some of your loved ones will say, what the fuck is Patreon? Okay, then you get to practice your pitch. Okay? Then the others will say, Patreon, that's great. Okay. You will, and then for those who say Patreon, that's great. I'm like, I'm glad you think that. Here, and can I commit you? Go the NPR fundraising route. Can I ask you to help support this? Okay. The nice thing about Patreon is they can at any time quit out. Okay. So Theo, I'll make sure to get to your question. All right. So I have a couple of people. I also suggest that you set up your Patreon and don't announce it to the world yet, okay? Set it up, go for a soft launch, and have a few contents in there. Have a few contents in there, right? And the purpose for that is, one, I want you to get familiar with the platform, which is clunky. It's much better than it was 3 years ago. Trust me, 3 years ago it was worse, okay? Oh my God, it is clunky, it's difficult to use, fine. As you're making different kinds of posts, you're going to get used to it. And because nobody's looking, you can make all the mistakes. I want you to set it up and use it as a sandbox, as a testing ground. Make a bunch of posts. And if you have like a bestie or somebody whose judgment you trust, you say, okay, I've got this test, I've got this set up. I'm not ready to announce to the world yet. Can you look through it? And then they'll tell you, well, this was hard, this was easy, oh, I like this, and this totally doesn't sound like you at all. Who ate your brain? And if you don't sound like yourself, that is not going to be a good Patreon. Okay? So have, I don't know, anywhere from, aim to have maybe four posts. The first post is going to be something like, oh my fucking God, I'm doing this, I'm scared, help me out. Okay. Second post is show something of your artwork or whatever it is that you're creating. Your song, your essay, your book, your doodles, your the hairstyle you just created, whatever it is, your thing, something that you have that you might be posting in your Throwback Thursday, right? So anything that you would put in that has to do with Throwback Thursday, that has to do with your art or your art process, is fair game. Okay. And Anna, I'm sure all of us have done one of those, it comes up in Facebook, this thing you did 10 years ago. Hell, copy that photo and post it, and then explain more into it. I would love seeing you having 4 posts minimum, just so you get to use, one is a text post, one is a photo, one is a video, and another is a poll. And what you're doing is you're figuring out how to use the tools. And if you don't like it, you can delete it. You can edit it. You want to set that up before you go public. I made the mistake of making one post and going, ta-da, hello public and my fan base, this is my Patreon, and I had nothing to offer. It was like picking up, I don't know, a porn magazine, opening it, and there's, one naked chick and a bunch of empty pages. All right, what kind of porn magazine is that? It's really not helpful. It's like, you got to have a few more, okay? Okay, Caroline, I'll get to that as well. And Soen, I'll get to use as well. All right. So have a few people lined up, have at least one person to give you honest feedback. This is the same person that's going to tell you have spinach in your teeth, toilet paper off your shoes, and that guy you got to break up with. Okay, same person. Same person is going to be your moral compass. Okay, and just have them put in $1, and then you buy them $15 in cocktails every month or something. I don't know. You pay them in drinks. Okay, so you're going to need somebody to do that. Yeah, and then you've got a couple other people that you have cajoled or twisted their arm into, or if you prefer, you can promise them blowjobs you were already going to give them anyway. May I say again that I do not represent Patreon. Last time I went to a Patreon meeting, I was scolded because I said this was boring. And then I organized a meeting within a meeting off in the corner, and they were terribly offended because their 20-year-old producers didn't want to hear a 53-year-old lady say this is boring. Anyhow, all right. So there's that. So you got your moral compass. You got your first few subscribers, and you got a few posts in there. You know what to post, and you know you don't have to be all serious about it. Anything that you would be posting on Facebook, which goes to my educational tangent. If you are already posting content and pouring your heart out about your work of any sort on any of the other platforms that's free, why? Stop and think about it. If you're showing your process, your work, sharing a deep, heartfelt essay, a rant, a song, a brilliant meme, you're already doing the creative work. It's of as often as you might post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the fuck it is, Grindr counts too. Put it on Instagram. Start migrating people over, which leads to the touching on Caroline's question a little bit, and I'll go back to it, of why do public posts? Public posts on Patreon is accessible to anyone who's not a subscriber. You're already doing this work for free and for Facebook anyway, creating content for Zuckerberg. I mean, everything that you write and produce is a profit for Zuckerberg. I don't know, unless he's sucking your dick. No, I don't want that. Sorry, safe word, erase my brain. Trauma. Okay, I just erased my brain. All right, if you're providing content for Zuckerberg, why the fuck not put that up for yourself? Okay, so I like to think of Patreon as a place that you're posting what you're already doing. Now, focus it towards your creative process, okay? So if you're going to post, if I'm going to post a cat picture, I'm going to put it on Instagram and Facebook. Also, at this point, I consider posting cat pictures as doing good for the world of de-stressing. It is my public service to the world to post pictures of Jack, my asshole cat. I'll bring him up on screen later. But Jack usually has not much to do with my artwork until he walks across it. Then I'll post, but you know, there's things that I'm now posting more on Patreon. Now I might make it free in order that I will have the people that were already, and my friends that were already looking at me from other medium to come over and check me out. And then they're going to have FOMO when they see well, you have to be a subscriber to see this material. So, yeah. Okay, so there's that. Let me go on back to check out some of the questions here. Okay. Do I have any advice to how to bring up Patreon regularly but effectively in your media? Okay. Theo, what kind of media? I'll just list some things. Okay. So Theo can write to me about what kind of media. So in Facebook, it's easy. I just mention, hey, I just posted the video I did, actually Tuesday. But yesterday I posted a video of my performance that I did Tuesday night, right? So eventually I will say, check me out over there, okay? So there's that. Now I will also take a screenshot of something that I posted on Patreon and put it on Instagram. Now, if you're going to put it on Instagram, linking on Instagram is a pain in the ass. That's when you use the story feature. On the story feature, you can use, the little story thing, right? On the story feature, you can post a screenshot or something from Patreon and then make sure that it's linkable. Make sure your Patreon page name is easy to spell and find. You notice all my social media is Planet Midori. Well, Midori is a relatively common Japanese name. It's also a city in Japan. It's also a really bad liquor. Do not ever get me a bottle of Midori. No, just no. Okay, yeah, I'm more of a bourbon person. Thank you very much. Okay, but that stuff's awful. So there's a lot of Midori, and then how was I going to disambiguate myself, right? And my wife keeps telling me that, oh God, you're really not from this planet, are you? Like, Planet Midori, that explains a lot of things. Yeah. So Planet Midori, all my things. I mean, So make sure that your Patreon name is easy to spell. If you have a clever but hard to spell, no, okay? But bring it up everywhere. Put it in your signature box. Hell, make a t-shirt that has your Patreon on it. I am not kidding. I'm actually coming out with a really cool t-shirt. And I have this motto that says, burn like fire, flow like water. Had a t-shirt made. So put it everywhere. Mention it. I'm going to suggest taking a look at Amanda Palmer's TED Talk. You must check out Amanda Palmer's TED Talk. Amanda Palmer also has a giganto book. I am a slow reader, impatient with too much shit to do. If you're a reader, read her book. If you're a listener, listen to her audiobook. If you have short attention span, squirrel. Oh, sorry. Check out her TED Talk. And she's one of the people who's, I'm fortunate enough to have her as a friend of mine. So she gave me the sit down finger pointing. But her Patreon is a good source of inspiration. It's a good source of inspiration. So let's see. And okay, so hopefully I covered let me see if there's anything from Theo there. I actually think you answered the question pretty handily. Yeah, drives, okay, great, okay, great, okay, Theo, in the gray sweater, is that you? No, that's somebody else, okay. And, hold on, going through questions. Would I recommend multiple accounts with different ratings or avoid X together and keep the bondage R-rated? Okay, so when you're talking about bondage imagery, okay. This is my opinion, and you are welcome to ignore it. However, I would not have multiple accounts. I think you're going to distribute people's attention as well as people's income, and I think it's confusing. I would have one account keep it R, and have some other site that is possibly password protected, where you can put your X stuff. It depends. So, and as to what your goal with Patreon is. Are you trying to make money? Or do you want a place to post your adult images? Oh, I just figured out Theo is the one with the black t-shirt. Okay, hi. Okay, just figured this out. All right. Okay. Look at the name on the frame, Midori. Yeah. So if it is that you want a place to park your adult images, you're likely going to lower your potential of income. If you want a place to have a steady stream for your creativity of money, then I would park your X image somewhere else. Or you might even make something like, I don't know, let's go a little easier access instead of having to build a password website. Maybe have a password protected Dropbox, or a password protected file that only subscribers get. But I'd park it elsewhere. It depends on your goal. It depends on your goal. So, okay. So, hey, Caroline, thank you for posting the Amanda talk. Okay. Suggestions for respectable sites that are password protected. Respectable site to post non-respectful images. That is beyond my working knowledge. That would be a question better asked to somebody else. I'm sorry about that. If anyone else, Soen's question was, and I put this out to all of y'all, any suggestion on respectable sites that are password protected? And I'm going to interpret respectable as in respects your right to your copyright protection and is not going to be associating you with illegal activities like kiddie porn and like terrorist activities and like, I don't know, like scary people, as opposed to nice, sweet perverts like we all are. Okay. So I'm hoping that somebody else can provide that. Okay. So Jen said, how about password protected folder in a Google Drive? You know, that might be an interim suggestion. You can set that up. And then when you have a better solution, you can change it up. Does that make sense? Okay. Jen, thank you. Okay. And going to earlier questions. Okay, so if we have different sorts of media, should we have different accounts? All right, so the question of, Soen asks, if we have different sorts of media, should we have different accounts? Well, the answer, like so many sex questions as well, is it depends. Okay, here's my thought on it. If you have completely different audience and you present yourself as completely different people, maybe. So let's say, for example, that that my name is Midori and I produce hardcore bondage photography. On the other hand, maybe I also have an image, maybe I also have an identity that my name is Sally and I create children's books. These are two aspects of my life that probably should not cross. So in that case, as Midori, I would have one account, and as Sally, the children's book illustrator, I would have a separate account. That is a case of having two completely different audience and two completely different work. Now, for me, I produce lots of different kinds of artwork, from writings to essay to weirdo performance art to paintings to God knows what. But the artist remains the same. So as such, I'm putting it all there and just keeping the line on the R side of things. So that's going to be a decision around your audience and your persona that you present. Okay. Let me know if there's further clarification, So-Ann, that you would like on that. Now, Carolyn asked, how often do I post to Patreon? Okay, so in my early days, I didn't post a lot because I had this idea that I had to have proper finalized presentations to make to the world. Like, you know, a final edited video, a really well-written essay, a deeply thought out this, that, or the other. I had, you know, my German Japanese stick squarely up my ass and thinking that I needed to be all sorts of proper. So that meant that I sabotaged myself and ended up procrastinating by, you know, thinking I needed to do this right. And then I had a big change of heart along the way. Oops, I need to plug in my laptop. Give me just a sec. You can write your questions in the field while I go get my power cord. Power! Okay. So for those of you who know me, you know that I'm a weird balance between an uptight, stick up my ass, German Japanese formality. I do well with New Yorkers. And goofy ass, swearing, psycho clown. You know, somewhere in between there. You know, I'm just your average gal that's a mix between overly formal and weirdly informal. So I was going the overly formal route and feeling like I needed to be proper. So my posts were never getting done. And I didn't like, in my first year, I didn't like doing my Patreons because it felt like such a chore. And then it suddenly struck me that, and I was also getting frustrated because people weren't responding to my posts and I wasn't getting feedback, and I was getting sad about that. And then every cancellation or changed subscription would just break my heart. And the change of heart that I had was, this isn't a final art show. This is a gallery visit, not a gallery, studio visit. I was at an art studio that I shared with a friend of mine, and I was watching her. She always had a stock of good red wine and good coffee and sake and a little bit of, you know, nuts and stuff. And people would just drop in. And I watched her as I was off in the corner, you know, solitarily working. I watched her greeting artists and connecting people and talking about the process and getting frustrated and shooting the shit and, you know, maybe bitching about her husband or whatever. And sometimes not even talking about the artwork, but sitting among the artwork. And it occurred to me that for a lot of people, learning about the life of the artists that they like is in itself valuable. And then it occurred to me, wait, if I got to spend time with creators that I admire, who also happen to be friends of mine, that I'm willing to buy a cocktail or a cup of coffee just to spend a little time with them, what do I want to hear from them? When I'm hanging out with Ron Athey, who's an amazing performance artist and a friend of mine, and yeah, he's a friend of mine, but I'm like totally starstruck with his artwork. What do I want to hear? I want to sit around while he's having a smoke and I'm having a cocktail and talking about some boy or another. I want to hear about, the ordinary things. I want to hear about some experiment that he made with a costume that failed. When I'm hanging out with Violet Blue, who writes about internet security, I'm having wine and cheese, and she's a dear, dear longtime friend of mine, but I totally have like art crush on her. I want to hear about her trials and travails and excitement, and I want to hear about the movie she's excited about. And I want her to tell me about why it is a movie that I liked is actually problematic in terms of social justice. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. Things like that. And then I'm like, oh, the things that I thought really didn't matter to the world actually does matter. Okay, well, let me give it a try. And I just started writing things and got that stick out of my ass and started just talking about process. And now I'm talking about like how I applied for a residency and didn't get it, or the day that I missed that the arts grant was closed, or how I'm like hella nervous about a show that I have no idea what the fuck I'm gonna do. Again, it is, for me, a virtual studio visit. Yeah. So that really changed it, which means, going back to Caroline's question, how often do I post? I tried to, I think a couple years ago, I was posting like twice a month. Now I'm posting whenever I can. And partially it's because of the coronavirus, but it is also, if I'm, instead of putting profit in Zuckerberg's pocket, I'd rather turn it into content for me. So whenever I have something I want to post, I stop and think, Zuckerberg or Midori? Cat pictures, that's not for Zuckerberg. That's for my friends on Facebook that could use a little kitty belly or kitty nipple moment. Okay? If I want to promote a local business that, like the Bay Natives, I just posted about them having fresh chicken eggs. I'm going to put that on Instagram and Facebook, because it's not for Zuckerberg. It's for Bay Natives and the chickens and the Bayview business. So I'm going to put that out in the broadest platform. But if it's specifically about me, I'm going to put it on Patreon. So that means increasingly, I'm getting to a point, oh, I've got something to show you. I'm a very analog gal. Marcia, you'll be proud of me. This is my posting calendar.
I love it.
Thank you, girl. I got, and of course the Post-it notes are genuine Midori.
100% on brand from Midori.
Right, I am the Post-it note queen. However, the analog calendar, what I'm using this, here's Hella Kvetch, the show I started. And then the Post-it notes are classes, or look here, webinar, Patreon. And this is the video I recorded with Caroline of Everyday Spirituality. And this one was the Leather Seder. And I have it on Post-it notes so I can move it around. And like I've got one here that I'm thinking next week about doing on, not no promises, this is on a post-it note so I can move it. The history of Shibari. And because I did a poll and y'all wanted that. So, but I can move this around if it feels like I'm way too stressed out. I can do it live. I'm probably going to do it recorded. And then I'm going to, currently I have it for next Tuesday, but I can move it around. So yeah, that. And then having pre-recorded content, because pre-recorded content, you know what's fun with the pre-recorded content is if you have interesting humans in your life, interview them. Make them talk. And that's fun. So I try to post as much as possible. All right. Let's see. And how does posting on Patreon work with the Facebook algorithm? Carolyn, you are like the Facebook algorithm queen. Here's my answer. I haven't a fucking clue. I do not know.
To hear that I'm cracking up, Midori, of course.
Yeah, I haven't a fucking clue. I don't know. But you know, anytime you got something cool happening on Patreon, blather about it over on Facebook. I mean, seriously, Caroline's like the Facebook algorithm fucking queen, man. I have no idea.
I just asked the question because, like, about 50% of my revenue comes from what I do on Facebook. So as I'm looking at converting more over, and I've started telling my audience I'm doing that, but I'm still figuring Patreon out, right? Because I've only been going like 3 weeks or something. Maybe not even that long, maybe 2 weeks. Who knows in COVID. Anyway, I do have to weigh up if when I post to Patreon and it's public and then share it to Facebook, like if you share stuff from YouTube, it gets virtually no visibility, right? So yeah, I am still looking at how that works. Anyway, I can Google it if I find out. Yes, Marsha, time has no meaning. I totally agree with.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I think more that you can, for all of us, that we can train our friends, family, loved ones, friends, subscribers, lovers, ex-lovers, future ex-lovers, frenemies, enemies, anyone that'll give us a buck, okay? You know, get any of them over to Patreon, the better, all right? And, you know, just because somebody is your hated ex doesn't mean that they might not love your artwork or may follow you out of spite. Spite subscription, why the fuck not? Well, I'm going to subscribe to my ex Joe because I want to watch when he burns and fails. Fine, fine. $1 a month from your spiteful ex, great, go for it. And then show them wrong. I am a twisted fuck. Okay, where else do you post links? Tuck, could you clarify your question for me? I am not entirely sure what you mean by that. Where else do I post links? Do you mean where else do I advertise my Patreon? Oh, I have a business card. I actually have little business cards that I had printed on moo.com, and if you want a discount code for Moo, I will send you a link, okay? So I have a business card and it has my Patreon link with my artwork on it, and I hand it to people. It seems a little anachronistic to have an analog paper object to hand to a person, but it makes a difference. Also suggestion, make sure that it is not on glossy so you can actually write other information like your email address or your phone number or your Grindr ID, whatever, okay? And speaking of dating apps, if you are not pseudonymously present on dating apps, hell, put your Patreon on that too. Okay. Yeah, I am definitely not a Midori sour drinker. Gross. Yeah. I'm more of a Manhattan person. Let's see. Oh, Marshall, thanks. You can only do the Instagram story link if you have more than 10K followers. correct. Sorry about that. On Instagram, I use a program called Linktree. Linktree. And that allows me to put several different links in my Instagram bio. I found that helpful. Let's see. And Jen, yes, I love Amanda too. She's having a really hard time. And let's see, Sarah. So with the referral link that you sent, can we set up the Patreon and keep it private until we have some subscribers? Okay, so with the referral link that I sent y'all, all right, you want to get 20 subscribers within 30 days of setting it up. That's how you're going to get the $50, okay? That's how you're going to get the 50 buckaroos. So you can see if you can hit up 15 people, because the last 5 you'll be able to get, right? See if you can just hit up 15 people to just get you to support you $1. One of those can be you. And then there's your lover. And then there's your partner. Just $1. And here's the thing. You just need to get 20 people in the first 30 days. You can even pay them back just to get that $50. Work at, because I want you to actually succeed. Right. And then you get that $50. You've got the contents and you've got some followers. And then if the original 20 drop out because that was their way of supporting you, cool. You got to build on top of that. Okay. Okay. And Carolyn posted the TED Talk. Let's see. Okay, so somebody asked me, can you talk a bit about the subscription levels or the tiers? Is this something that you set, the artist sets, or is it set by Patreon? I'm completely new to this platform. All right, I am going to also recommend that you check out before you start your Patreon page, go and check out the Patreon U, which is in their FAQ. Okay, I think I sent you that link to that. The tiers or the subscription level is something that each creator sets. So each creator sets. A mistake that I made is that I set too many tiers. I would suggest like maybe 3 tiers to start with. You can always add more. You can always add more. You also don't need to be, you are an artist or creator first and foremost. You are not a product delivery service. Don't get so caught up in what you're going to deliver as a thing to each tier. You can always add it. I made the mistake of trying to have the perfect subscription levels at all income level. And I overdid it and I overcommitted. And there were things that I promised that I had to fade out because I wasn't able to deliver. So in terms of what you are providing in the tiers, okay? Simple advice on the tiers. Do not have a tier $1. No $1. Because $1 is less than the processing cost. Start with 2. All right, start with 2. And keep in mind that subscribers can specify how much. So if you have $2, $5, and I don't know, $15, somebody can still put in for $12 because, or $13 because they're into prime numbers or something. Okay. But they can actually specify. Make sure also to check mark that box that says, it says something like collect money upon signing up. That's really important. So here's something that happened to several smut artist friends of mine, the ones that had the X accounts, right? And this was what, that people would subscribe. Let's say April 2nd, they subscribe, and I'm a smut artist. And if the person is not charged till the end of the month, me, Jane Asshole, subscribes to your site on April 2nd. I go in, I haven't paid anything, and I'm going to download all your hot smut, right, So-Ann? I'm going to get all of it. I'm going to download it. I'm going to suck it on up. And on April 29th, I'm going to cancel my account. That shit happens. So make sure to check mark the bit about pay upon sign up. So it's kind of like, you know, when you sign up for rent, you pay your first and last. It's kind of like that, okay? But it also assures that way that it's a little bit of an insurance against the creeps who rip you off. There's not too many of those. But, you know, if you have saucy content, it may happen. Okay, so subscription levels, start with 3. You can always add more. Keep it simple and cruise around, you know, other people's, if you have a chance to cruise around other people's tiers, you can get ideas and copy off of them. But really, you do not have to have a perfect page to start this. But you do want to have a few people that are committed to support you and a couple of things you're already going to post. Again, you can totally mine your old Facebook posts as well as writing your truth about your fears and anxieties. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm here. Please help me make art. Or put it in your language, some equivalent of it. Okay. I hope to the person that asked about the subscription and tiers, I hope that that helped. And let's see, Theo, a couple of quick questions. How often do I make public material on Patreon? Also, have you seen a significant impact on your subscriber retention with the pandemic? And as a corollary, how would you suggest tackling that regard to starting a Patreon at this time? Right now, my retention level has been better than other times. Now, when you are first starting off, and I'm talking to you, Caroline, you're gonna have people coming and going. And when people leave and unsubscribe, it hurts. It totally hurts. It still hurts. I see an unsubscribe notice come up and I'm going, oh my God. But it's going to happen. And the thing is, you have no idea why that they're unsubscribing. Maybe it is they got bills to pay. Maybe it wasn't what they were expecting. Maybe they really just had $5 to give once. You don't know, okay? One of the things about posting frequently means that you are all of your subscribers, your fans, your supporters, they love different aspects about what you do. And they love different things that you post. And if somebody didn't like this post, or it wasn't their thing, and they don't see anything else from you for a month, they're gonna get bored and leave. But if they don't like this post, but they kind of like this one, but they love this one, and they didn't like this one, they might stick around. So having a lot of different ways in which you're sharing the truth about you And you want the people that are interested in you. And if somebody comes, checks you out, and leaves, it's like dating and fucking, right? You know, the lovers that are into you are gonna stick around, even if, you know, last night's shag was eh. Yeah, it's like that. Again, as you can tell, I am not employed by Patreon because I can say this shit. Whereas the hookup that's just like looking for a quick trick and they only want that specific thing, and you know they're only wanting anal sex, and that's not where you're at, but you're awesome at everything else, they're gonna leave. That's fine. They don't care about you. They were only there for your ass, which actually makes them an ass. So there we go. So retention level, when you're new to this, it's going to be all over the map. It's going to break your heart, okay? But it's like dating as a teenager. Every breakup is devastating, okay? Now I'm 53. It's a little devastating, just not a lot devastating. All right. Have I seen significant impact on your subscriber retention with the pandemic? Yes. I am grateful that I have been building a relationship with my Patreon, because I've been honest and transparent that Patreon is now my only income stream as my classes have canceled. They'll be back. Classes will happen again. But in the meantime, Patreon's covering my health insurance that I pay for my household. I wouldn't have health insurance. Well, I mean, there's a whole discussion about our country and our health insurance and that whole thing. But my family wouldn't have health insurance if it weren't for Patreon. And knowing that, there have been several longtime supporters that have stepped up their support. And I know it's temporary, and they have told me that right now they themselves have jobs, and for a couple of months they're kicking up their subscription just to help me pay for the electricity. And then they'll go back to what they were. And I'm glad for that. So how does this help you now? Maybe it doesn't help you now, but you know what? This is not the last disaster that's going to strike our wallets. It's coronavirus today. It's a fire tomorrow. Earlier this year, I took a hit in my car getting broken in and stuff being stolen. You don't know. Keep that up. 3 years of work, and I started with like $200 and going, wow, I got $200. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. It was amazing. I didn't realize I could just like ask and like $200. I'm like, oh my God. That's like what I charge for half a class. Oh my God. Yeah. Like a class of like 30 people for 3 hours. Or I could do my art and post the shit that I already post on Facebook. So right now, your retention is going to be all over the map. But keep in mind that a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, your people will step up when they can. Okay? Let's see. History of Shibari will be a Patreon exclusive. Yes, I'm going to be doing a talk of History of Shibari. It will be a Patreon exclusive. Right now, during the coronavirus situation, I'm making it available to all my Patreon level, but there is something beeping and I don't know why. Hold on. The house is gonna blow up. Well, that was a message from Mission Impossible, and I deleted it before it blew up. Okay. Yeah, History of Shibari will be for Patreon exclusive. I am making all of my video content available to all levels of subscriber right now because the world sucks. After the world sucks just a little less, I'm going to bring that back to $5 a month and over, and that feels fair. $5 a month and get the video content, you know? The hard thing for me has been giving myself what I do and easily do a monetary value. That's been hard. All right, let's see. And money in your pocket. Okay, and Carolyn had to go off to 6 p.m. And she says she's grateful. Yay. Somebody else had to bounce another car. Okay, talk, let's see. That's legit. My friend set her OnlyFans to be $15 to read her messages after a stalker added her and sent her a message, and she responded telling him that he was creepy, so he had to pay $15 to read that he's creepy. Yes, yes, yep, good, okay. Okay, so somebody asked, so we should get a commitment from people first before signing up, or wait, just wondering when to sign up on the platform. If you have an opportunity to exploit the $50 gift from Patreon, line up a few ahead of time. Line up a few ahead of time. In the meantime, here's a cheat. If you know somebody who has a Patreon platform that will let you go look around on their account so you can cruise around and borrow from other people's ideas, do so, because I want you to make that $50. Why not? So actually, that's what I did with Grindr. So I was curious about Grindr. I had no interest in like being a subscriber, but I totally wanted to like creep on what the whole thing was. So a friend of mine who's a big old Grindr pervo gay boy, I'm like, come on, give me a tour of Grindr. And so I got to have a tour of Grindr on his account. It was great. Completely filthy. It was fabulous fun. So there we go. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Again, you don't have to take it, but you know, see if you can like strong arm a couple of people into being there for you. 20 people. You can have 20 people at $2 a month. That's $40. Is it 40? Yeah, okay. Me, Asian fail, whatever. Math. Let's see. Let's see. You said it's hard to give monetary value to your content. So how do you decide what to price at what? Oh my God, pricing your artwork and the value of your work. So on Patreon, this is where starting with like $2, $5, $15, and just be chatty. Just be chatty. You can always adjust things. And I think what I'm saying about giving value to your work is, do you want to give it away to Zuckerberg, or do you want to make content for yourself? That's what I mean. Okay. Let's see. And what cut does Patreon take? Oh, that, it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. Go to the current information on Patreon, Patreon U, and that'll give you all the details. I would also suggest to go ahead and subscribe to your other favorite artists. Here's something that happens between creators. So I will follow artist A. And then, oh, this just totally happened with Lingerie Addict. I love her work. She's a researcher and writer and smart hottie who posts about Lingerie Addict. And she totally is on that like R side of things, not X, R, right? Lingerie Addict, and I'm because I admire her work, I ended up having coffee with her in New York, and we made friends. Turned out she'd been following my social media. Who knew? So we ended up having coffee. We ended up forming a friendship. And as soon as she signed up on Patreon, I followed her at like some cheapy level. I think $2 just to be able to see her post and support her. And then immediately she followed me back for $2. So that cancels things out and it's not worth your time. Oh no, it's totally worth your time because you get to morally support one another. You get to see what each other is doing. And here's another thing to think about that I've been doing is feature your favorite artists to a point that now I'm doing like a little Zoom video thing. The weekly show that Laura Antonou and I are doing grew out of the just regular check-ins that I was doing with her. And we're silly and goofy and fucking funny. And we all both have followings and we both want the other to succeed. So we started a show together. But other artists, support them, the ones that support you back. And some of them I support and they don't support me back. That's fine. That's fine. I'm loving their work, right? Or I'm getting inspiration or ideas. Whatever it is that you support other artists come out of, okay, so let's say that if I make $100 of a month from our subscribers, but I have $10 in what I support other artists, I'm going to get $90 minus the cut, which isn't much, by the way. Art galleries take a fuck lot more. So, let's see. What's considered having a lot of subscribers on Patreon? I have no idea. Sorry, don't know. Okay. Ooh, it's 6:18. I'm supposed to be at a 6:30 workout with a friend of mine, a fellow sadist to whom I fitness bottom to. So I want to wrap this up. I'm hoping I gave some relevant information, personal take on things. You can always, if it's Patreon related stuff, drop me, and you are on the Patreon platform, drop me a note through that. And if you start a Patreon account, let me help celebrate you. Drop me a note and tell me a little about your thing, and then I'll mention it too in my Patreon. Let's see. Oh, hey. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Something improv. Okay, you were in Japan. Awesome, cool. I was supposed to be there in May. Don't think it's happening. Yeah, don't think it's happening. Bummerville. Let's see. Any other final questions? Jen, you're welcome. Questions, comments? Let's see. Oh, thank you. Lovely little private note sent. If anyone wants to, you're also welcome to unmute yourself. Last couple minutes of chat. You know what? I am going to hold on a sec. Don't go away. I'm just going to stop the recording. And 3, 2, 1, and